What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the CaliKidOfficial Podcast. I'm your host, CaliKidOfficial. This is episode 4. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So over the weekend, an unfortunate incident happened where 9 people unfortunately passed away. One among them was Kobe Bryant. His daughter, as well as 7 others passed away in a helicopter crash in the hills of Calabasas. So at around close to 10 a.m. in the morning, there was a phone call made to 911 regarding a helicopter, in distress, and ultimately the helicopter, crashed into the hillside, and no one on board survived. So it was very, very unfortunate and unexpected. So I wanted to offer my condolences to everyone involved, all the families. So these are the 9 people involved. You have Gianna Altobelli, Keri Altobelli, Alyssa Altobelli, Kobe and Gianna Bryant, Sarah Chester, Payton Chester, Ara Zobayan, and Christina Mauser. So all of these people were on board, and it's very unfortunate. The way I learned about the incident, I was watching TV, and my mother had came into the room and told me that my sister called her and told her that Kobe had died, which, when I heard that, I thought immediately that it was a hoax. So I went online. At first I didn't see anything, but then, as I searched more and more, the story slowly started to develop. And I was like, man. Because at first there were so many conflicting stories put out there, which is one of the things that I didn't like about the coverage of this. It was very sloppy. A lot of outlets were more concerned with being first as opposed to having all the information. Because initially it said that there was 3 people on board. Then there was something that said that Kobe and all of his family was on board. But then we finally get the truth to it, and it was Kobe, his daughter Gianna, the Altobelli family, the Chester family, the pilot Ara Zobayan, and Christina Mauser. So, I wanted to, take my time to offer my condolences to them. And it's like, man, you lose your daughter and your husband in the same day, and then the other families, the mom, the father, and the daughter die. It's crazy. And so, to get my mind right that day, usually when situations like this happen, I put it towards a hobby or something. So in this instance, I decided to make a couple of records, 2 of which is tributes for everyone involved in the situation. So I wanted to play these 2 records for you guys. Let me bring up. Alright, so the first one is called Just Like Kobe, and then the second one after is just an instrumental. It's called Till We Meet Again. So I'm gonna play you guys the first one.
Man, oh man, where do I even start? I made this song as a tribute to Kobe, as well as everybody else lost in this unfortunate incident. May their spirits rest in peace, and may God place his hands over the families affected by this. When I try the lane, I'm just like Kobe. When I shoot that 3, I'm just like Kobe. When I dunk that ball, I'm just like Kobe. When I win the ring, I'm just like Kobe. Mamba mentality, just like Kobe. Making impact, just like Kobe. When I draw the lane, I'm just like Kobe. When I shoot that 3, I'm yelling Kobe. When I dunk that ball, I'm just like Kobe. When I win the ring, I'm just like Kobe. When When I drive the lane, I'm just like Kobe. When I shoot that three, I'm just like Kobe. When I dunk that ball, I'm just like Kobe. When I win the rain, I'm just like Kobe. Mamba mentality, just like Kobe. Making impact, just like Kobe. When I drive the lane, I'm just like Kobe. When I shoot that three, I'm Lil and Kobe. When I dunk that ball, I'm just like Kobe. When I win the rain, I'm just like Kobe. When I drive the lane, I'm just like Kobe. When I shoot that three, I'm just like Kobe. When I dunk that ball, I'm just like Kobe. When I win the rain, I'm just like Kobe. Just like Kobe, just like Kobe, just like Kobe, making impact, just like Kobe. When I drive the lane, I'm just like Kobe. When I shoot that three, yelling Kobe. When I dunk that ball, I'm just like Kobe. When I win that ring, I'm just like Kobe. When I drive that lane, I'm just like Kobe. When I shoot that three, I'm just like Kobe. When I dunk that ball, just like Kobe. When I win the ring, just like Kobe. Yeah, 24, yeah, that Kobe. R.I.P. brother, rest in peace to you, your daughter, everybody else affected in that crash. My condolences to all the families involved. God bless.
This one is just an instrumental. It's called Till We Meet Again.
CaliKidOfficial.
So yeah, that was my tribute, to everybody involved in that situation. So once again, offer my condolences to the Altobelli family, the Bryant family, the Chester family, the Zobayan family, and the Mauser family. May their souls rest in peace. But moving on to a much brighter note, we also had episode 4 of Power. This episode was in particular Tate's episode. So when Ghost and Tommy had met up in that warehouse district place, they were being shot at, and it wasn't really revealed who the guys were or who sent them or whatever. So it's revealed that Tate, sent for Cedric the Entertainer, who's playing a character on the show, and his son to come down, to put a hit out on Ghost, and they make their way down. But Tate gets cold feet or whatever, and he basically tells them that he no longer needs their services. And Cedric's character is like, I ain't come all the way down here for nothing, so it's either we kill them or I kill you. Which is it? So that whole thing led to, Cedric's character and his son telling Ghost throughout the day, and they finally end up meeting him at the warehouse. Cedric's son is very antsy and ready to get the job done, and he makes a mistake. He fires at Ghost, but he misses. And then they realize that Ghost isn't alone. He's there with Tommy, and they get into a shootout with Ghost and Tommy, as we've seen, before these last couple of episodes. And ultimately, Cedric gets killed, and the son barely makes it out, and he wants revenge. So once it gets towards the middle of the episode, Tate gets drunk, ends up in a bar. He ends up, staying at his brother's house, which is interesting because his actual brother is in the show too. So he goes and stays at his brother's house, and as he's taking out the trash, Cedric's son sneaks up behind him, basically wanting revenge for what happened. So he pulls the guns out on Tate, and eventually Tate's brother comes out. He sees what's going on, and he puts the son down. And Tate's whole fortune basically reverses, because as you know, he was out of the governor's race and all of that, and then news gets around that Ghost has been killed, and so he starts making a play to get back in the running. He meets with the other lady that was running, but because she no longer has a running mate, she reaches out to Tate. He basically wants her to beg him for it. He ultimately turns down her offer, and ultimately she's kicked out of the governor's race, and he takes over. He also makes public that Ramona was romantically involved with Ghost, and basically did everything he did to tarnish her reputation. And so we see at the end of the episode them have it out. She comes over to his apartment where he's sleeping with one of his underlings, and then he gets into the truck at the end of announcing him running for governor, and you see Ramona standing off in the distance, pissed off. So his entire fortune basically turns around in this episode, and we got one final episode left, and the only characters left are obviously Sax, Tariq, and Tasha. But Ramona could also make a play, because as I said before, I think it's either Tariq, Tasha, or Ramona that made a play against Ghost and ultimately killed him. So we're just gonna have to see what happens with that. But this was a pretty interesting episode. We also had over the weekend the 2020 Royal Rumble. As I've said on the last podcast, it had been a while since I got back into the WWE program because it was very repetitive. But some pretty interesting things happened. Brock Lesnar, as I said before, he started off number one. The way they paced it, he was eliminating people with ease. And then at one point, it was this one funny moment when MVP came out. He started dancing to MVP's music. It was funny. He was, doing the jig and stuff like that, which is pretty funny. Let me see if I can pull it up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right. You see, he like. Yeah, that was a funny part, and then there was another part where he was reunited with Shelton Benjamin, because if you didn't know, both he and Shelton Benjamin were college roommates at their time, I believe, at Minnesota. So they had like a little mini reunion in the ring. They like hugged each other, and then of course, Brock being Brock, he ultimately betrayed him and threw him out the ring. So that was pretty cool. And then the ring started filling up with the bigger guys, and then ultimately he was kicked out the ring by Drew McIntyre with a Claymore, which was pretty cool. And then we also saw the return of You Think You Know Me. That's right, Edge made his return at entrant number 21. I believe he got the biggest pop of the night, which was dope. It was very, very dope to see him, return after being away for 9 years, because back in 2011 he suffered a spinal injury, and basically this whole time, it was thought that he would never be able to compete in wrestling again, as with other wrestlers who've had similar injuries like Angle, Nikki Bella, Hardcore Holly, Daniel Bryan. But his body ultimately healed itself, and he said that he was training to get back to this moment, and ultimately, it proved worthwhile. He was able to return to the ring, so I thought that was dope. Not only he was able to wrestle that night, but his wife, Beth Phoenix, was able to wrestle too, who, by which, she's a very strong individual. She suffered a head injury where she was bleeding profusely out the back of her head. But ultimately, the event was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Drew McIntyre ultimately ended up winning the Men's Royal Rumble to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And then on the women's side, we saw an appearance from Santino Marella, but he was dressed as a woman. But the winner of that was Charlotte. So we're going to have Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. So the event, it was pretty cool. Those was probably the highlights. Other than that, it was, pretty much whatever. We also had the 2020 Grammys. So a lot of people I expected to, do well, ultimately did. Let's see here. For Album of the Year, that went to Billie Eilish. She had a phenomenal year last year with her album When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? A lot of the songs on there charted, and the album also streamed well. And the visuals to her songs were, pretty interesting as well. So she won Album of the Year. She won Record of the Year for Bad Guy, Song of the Year for Bad Guy, Best New Artist. So right off the bat, she took home 4 Grammys. And then for Best Rap Album, that went to Igor by Tyler, the Creator. Nipsey Hussle posthumously won a Grammy for Racks in the Middle with Roddy Ricch. So that was pretty cool. He also won for Higher, the song with Khaled and John Legend. Best Rap Song went to A Lot by 21 Savage and J. Cole. So the 2 artists that you wouldn't think would win a Grammy ultimately did for that. So that was pretty cool. 21 getting a Grammy and J. Cole. Because as many good projects as J. Cole has put out, he's never taken home a Grammy. So he won for his feature on this song. And then for Best R&B Performance, it went to Come Home by Anderson .Paak and Andre 3000. Roll Some More by Lucky Day was a pretty cool song too. And then for Best Traditional Performance, Lizzo, she won. Best R&B song. That should have, for me personally, that should have went to No Guidance, Chris Brown and Drake. Not only was the song phenomenal, the visuals was dope as well. So I'm kind of surprised that they didn't win for that. It went to PJ Morton and JoJo Say So. I never heard that song before. And then for Best Urban Contemporary Album, went to Lizzo. Best R&B, Anderson .Paak. Best Pop Song, Lizzo, Truth Hurts. Best Pop Duo, Old Town Road, Lil Nas X. He cleaned up pretty well too. Let's see here. What else we got? Best Pop Vocal Album, Billie Eilish. So she has 5 Grammys so far. Best Music Video, Old Town Road. So he got 2. Best Music Film, Beyonce, she won 1. Best Dance Recording, The Chemical Brothers. Best Rock, Best Metal, this one, Gary Clark Jr. Killswitch Engage, huh? They still around. They got that song, This Fire Still Burns. That song, I like that song. What else we got? Empire Weekend. Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson still kicking. Best Latin Pop Album went to Alejandro Sanz. I've done a reaction to some of his music, though you won't be able to see those anymore because unfortunately I had to delete a whole bunch of videos, pretty much almost all of my reaction videos, because YouTube is tripping out with people doing reactions. So at this point, any reaction you see on my channel is going to be few and far between. Only if like an artist or artist management reach out to me to do a reaction is probably the only reactions you're going to see going forward, because of YouTube's new policies. But it's pretty interesting. He won for that. Rosalia, congratulations to her. She won for her album El Mal Querer. El Mal Querer. She's been doing her thing too. Coming all the way from Operation Triumphal competition. What else we got? Oh, Michelle Obama, she won, huh? Spoken Word album, Best Comedy Album, Sticks and Stones, Dave Chappelle. Yeah, that was a pretty good stand up. So I'm not surprised by that. Best Score, Soundtrack, or Visual Media, Chernobyl. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, that put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth, the way it ended. It was rushed. And then Billie Eilish also won for Best Engineered Album. So Billie Eilish, Lil Nas X, and Lizzo, as well as Nipsey, they pretty much took home multiple awards at this year's Grammy. So shout out to them. I didn't watch it because they usually be boring, but I wanted to see at least who got what for that. But that's pretty cool. And also over the weekend we had a little bit of a brawl, if you say, between the Knicks and the Grizzlies. They got into a bit of a tussle because Jay Crowder of the Grizzlies took a 3 when there was like 40 something seconds left in the game, and they were already up by I think like 20 points. Yeah, 124-106, so 18 points. So I want to pull that up for you guys so you guys can see how it played out. So you see, he takes a corner 3, he gets pushed, starts a melee. And then, after this whole situation, both sides start talking shit to one another. Yeah, Crowder, he stole the inbounds and shot a three. It's like if the Knicks showed this type of fight in the game, you wouldn't have to worry about, people taking threes while they blowing you out. So right here, it goes to this right here. He says, "It's soft. His game is soft. He saw very woman-like Marcus Morris on Jay Crowder." And then Jay Crowder claps back at the naysayers. He says, "Hey Tim, with all due respect, I only play one way, and that's hard till the buzzer sounds. I'm sorry if it disgusts you. I know Knicks are your team, but you should tell them to play harder and less talking." So yeah, it was pretty much mouthing off to one another after that. So the fallout from this, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some fines handed out. I don't think anybody's going to get suspended, but you never know. But yeah, pretty interesting week though thus far. We also got word of some new music releases this year. Lil Baby sophomore album, My Turn, is slated to drop on the 28th of February, as he says. Partynextdoor, he's supposed to be dropping Party Mobile next month. Or should I say February, because when you guys see this, it's going to be February. So, and then Schoolboy Q said that he's going to be dropping sometime this year as well at one of his concerts. So we got 3 projects to look forward to. And also we got Lil Wayne's album, The Funeral. So we got another album following the Carter 5. This one is basically like a continuation of the Rebirth, because he said that all of his projects are done in like a sequential order, and he said he didn't want to make another Carter 6. He didn't want to. He said he could have called this the Carter 6, but he wanted um, each one to have its own, sequence after the other. So the opposite of being reborn obviously is dying. So that's how you get funeral. So my impressions, the album is pretty lengthy. It's 24 songs. So for me personally, he could have diluted it down. But there are some dope records on there that I did like. For example, let's see, let me pull this up. Obviously, track 1, Funeral, Bing James was dope to me. Trust Nobody, Wild Dogs, Harden. So, overall, it was a pretty solid project. I've actually already done my review of the album, so you guys are going to be seeing that video sometime after this one. So, if you guys want to know more about my impressions on the album, watch that video. And also we got Russ's album, Shake the Snow Globe, dropped as well. I also did a music review of that, so make sure you guys check that out. So after this podcast airs, you're going to see the Wayne review, and then after that you're going to see the Russ review. So, make sure you guys check those out. And also, as I've said, earlier, all the way dating back to last year, that I was going to be dropping 2 albums this year, and the first album dropping is called Euphoria. I'm gonna show you guys the cover art. All right, guys. So this right here is the cover art for my album Euphoria, and also the track listing, as you can see, is 10 records. It's an EDM-based album. The official release date is April 3rd, 2020, which is a Friday. So the album will be dropping in 2 months. So you guys be on the lookout for that. As it get closer and closer to the album, I'm gonna be releasing various promotional material. For right now, you're just gonna see the album cover and the track list, but there's also going to be merch design around the album, as well as snippets and music videos all the way to the album drops. So there's a couple of singles on here. The first one, of course, is Serenity. Then you have Slammin', and then Ecstasy 1.0 and Ecstasy 2.0. So there's 4 singles on here. it's a pretty dope album, so make sure you guys check that out. You're gonna be very, very impressed with this. Also, and for my second album as well. The second one is gonna be even doper than this one, but this one is dope too. So I just wanted to share with you, you know, the news. So that's pretty much going to do it for this week's podcast. I appreciate you all for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until the next video, or should I say until the next podcast, peace.
On the beat.